The next person that I'd like to introduce is one of the few people alive, as in every generation the Gemara says, Rabbi Akiva, who was one of the greatest Tanaim, had a Talmud, Rabbi Shimon ben Azai, who was zeichet to be both a Talmud and a Chaver, in a sense, to Rabbi Akiva. He gleaned a tremendous amount of information in a bechina of Talmud, yet at the same time, he was able to act as a friend in many circumstances, in many different situations, in helping his Rebbe, and in developing a particular type of closeness to his Rebbe. I'd like to introduce David Asulin, who is a person in this generation who was able to achieve this kind of relationship with our Rebbe Zon.
Before I speak, I'd like to tell everybody here that I wasn't informed that I was going to speak until we got on the bus, and it's very difficult to speak about a rabbi who was like a friend, a father, a brother, and we could go on forever, but I did jot down a few notes, which really isn't justice. I'm not a professional speaker, and I'm not a rabbi, so I'm really not so prepared to be up here to speak about Rabbi Rosenfeld ztz. If you'll bear with me, I'll try to relate to you some of the thoughts I had only on the bus coming from Deal to Brooklyn. As you all know in Torah, we try earnestly to take one mitzvah and hold it close to us. Some people say they take the tefillin, or some people say I'll take mezuzot, some people say I'll take tzitzit, some women say I'll light the nirot for Shabbat 10 minutes before, 20 minutes before Shabbat, Kabot Shabbat. What was Rabbi Rosenfeld Alev Shalom? What was his pleasure? Which mizbah did he hold close to him? Now most people usually will say, I'll take one mizvah and hold it very close. But here is a unique and very strange rabbi. He took mikveh, tefillin, tzitzit. He took people in the street that were them and made them rabbis. It's incredible to see that in this world that we live in today, one man, one rabbi, one tzaddik could go in the street and take a guy who's smoking marijuana, take a guy who's stealing, robbing stores, take a guy who's doing everything against Torah, take that neshama, convert it, fight with families, fight with parents, and succeed in making this person a good Jewish neshama. The Rabbi Zal says there's a story. They once asked Rabbi Zal, if you're such a big tzaddik, let us see you revive the dead. In those days, it was only big tzaddikim could revive the dead. Rabbi Zal said, that's no trick. I want a person who's dead in this world, who's mamash dead, who has no tefillin, who has no mizvot. Give me that person. I'll make him make teshuvah. And I'll make that person live Hayim in this world and Olam Haba. And this is what Rabbi Zal taught. And the Rabbi Alev Shalom took this mizvah single-handedly and converted thousands of people. Now, you read in the Jewish press, thousands of people. Where are the thousands of people? Are they here? Are they in Eretz Israel? Some are watching a football game. Some are taking their grandchildren to Coney Island for a hot dog. But Mamash Rabbi Rosenfeld did all this, and he never had the kabod. Here in Olam Hazeh, he never received full kabod. I once received a telephone call from a Sephardic friend, and he said, Rabbi Rosenfeld went through so much yisurim. Why can't we make him a dinner? Why can't we build him a dinner of kabod? As you see in most common UJAs and all these different type of activities. I said, that's fabulous. Let me call up Rabbi Rosenfeld right now. Let me talk to him. And let me tell him we'll have to sort of sketch him, sort of make believe it's not for him, because there's no way that he will accept this. So I called the rabbi. He said, the dinner, the honor should be in your occasion. This was anivut. We're trying to see which mizvah that this rabbi held so close to him. Which one of these mizvot? He brought tefilim from Eretz Yisrael. He brought mezuzot. He made people wear tzitzit. He made them shomer Shabbat. If it wasn't the children that was shomer Shabbat, he converted the parents. The enemies that piled up, and the Yisurim he went to. Once we had a little Talmidim, 6'3". He was stealing the kippot in the Muri Yeshiva. I took this boy to my house. I told him, you cannot do this. It's asur. You're robbing. You're stealing. We got this boy to take a haircut. He had hair by his waist. Before you knew it, the parents came to my house knocking on the door. Don't you ever talk to my son again. I said, why? You and your rabbi. What did you do to my son? You killed him. And I looked with awe, and I had no words to answer. This boy became not only about Teshuvah, this boy started to learn Torah. And I told the boy, for the sake, because the rabbi said no violence, make shalom. I told the boy, please don't come around anymore. Maybe when you get a little older, you'll come and learn Torah with us. A few years later, I get a knock on the door, 2307 Ocean Parkway, Brooklyn. The parents of this boy knocking on my door. Please help us. What is the problem? My son is in jail, selling marijuana. Now you come to me. And to take revenge, I immediately called the rabbi. Now we could take revenge on these parents. He said, Has v'shalom. Tell them we'll try to help the boy, we'll go to jail, we'll try to see what we can do for him. This was Rabbi Rosenfeld. What I wrote here on the paper, I can't even say now. Because there's millions and millions of stories. Some people say, you was his closest Talmid. I am not really considered a Talmid. There are Talmidim that are Rosh Yeshivot in Yeshivas today. There are Talmidim who teach 40 and 50 boys, his students. I was maybe a friend, but if anybody knew Rabbi Rosenfeld, Alev Shalom, knew that he was their friend, he was their father, he was their brother, he was their lawyer, he was their counselor, and he guided them into doing mitzvot. People say now the rabbi, Alev Shalom, he is not with us, but the rabbi always taught us that tzaddikim never pass away. I remember 13 years ago, they walked from one room to another. We are sitting here. I have to go inside and drink 3 Shivas Regals with no scotch and no ice. And Rabbi Schick is talking about Rabbi Rosenfeld, and I'm crying in the other room. And now I remember what the rabbi told me. He said, David, you must be in Simcha. And we have to try our very most to be in Simcha, to do mitzvot, and if you really want to give tribute to the rabbi, go get one of these boys in the street who's stealing, who's smoking marijuana, bring them into Torah, put the seed on that boy, take them out of their schools, teach them Torah, and let them learn the derech that the rabbi tried to teach all of us. It's impossible to tell you now. It's absolutely impossible to tell you all the stories about the rabbi. But let's get back to the point. Which mizvah did he hold the greatest? If anybody in this room could answer, then please come up here and say it. Because I don't know. In the years I knew the rabbi, every mizvah was his. He was close to that mizvah. Once the rabbi, Alev Shalom, called me up 1:30 in the morning. He said, David, pick me up immediately. It's an emergency. I said, Rabbi, what's the matter, Dachila? What happened? He says, pick me up and don't talk. I got in my car 1:30. I drove to his house. I picked him up. And naturally, he drives the car. because his anivut, he would never let anybody drive the car, drive him or chauffeur him. We went to a house, a Sephardic house. I walked in the door, there was blood on the floor. The rabbi said, a married couple are fighting and one of the married people stabbed with a knife, with a kitchen knife, their mate. I looked, I saw blood, the police, the sirens outside. The husband furious, the wife crazy. I told the rabbi, how on earth are we going to solve this case? You have police here. They're frantic, they're running around maniacs. The children upstairs are screaming and crying. He said, David, I promise you. And he really didn't say, he said, I give you my word. I am not leaving this house until we make shalom. I said, this one is impossible, because I saw him do many, many miracles in front of my eyes. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. He told this married couple, if they get divorced, the Mizbeach is crying. Tears are coming from heaven. It's Asur, the children. From 1:30 to 5:30 in the morning, finally he said, I will sacrifice my minyan. I will not go to minyan until there is shalom in this house, he told to the married couple. Naturally, the koach and the drive of the rabbi, he made shalom in front of my own eyes between these married people. One just stabbed another, blood all over the house. Which mizvah did the rabbi hold? It's impossible for me to think of. Which one was his? I really don't know. He controlled the entire Torah. Ba'al Peh. Traveled the world over. I was in Russia. I was in Turkey. I was in Eretz Israel. I was in Italy, Paris, every place on earth with the rabbi, alayhi shalom. And I saw how he operated. He controlled the Torah in his heart. Kabbalah, Zohar HaKadosh. It was infinite. I took them to yeshivot in Eretz Israel. I brought the Rosh Yeshiva. I sort of led him on to make some kind of a contest. Who's smarter? It was my own trickery. It was self-pride. And here, the Rosh Yeshivos looked at the rabbi and looked at him with awe, with his knowledge. Was it learning Torah? Was that his? Did he hold that mizvah the most? But he taught Torah. He has hundreds of Talmidim. All I can tell you, Rabotai, no matter what we discuss here today, the kabod of the rabbi could never be justified. Whatever I wrote on the paper is now wiped out, because we have with us, in our presence, living Torah. One rabbi called me and said, what do you have? A rabbi now who teaches on tapes? A rabbi now, they're listening to tapes? What are you, robots? Has v'shalom. The rabbi, Baruch Hashem, left us shiurim. You could bring the biggest gaunim in the world, and I defy them, and I challenge them to sit down and listen to the tapes and hear who Rabbi Rosenfeld was. Where did he get this hachmah? Of course, from the Gemara, from the Shulchan Aruch, from Kabbalah, from Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Zal, from Rabbi Zal. But all this Torah was in one mind. And all I could say is, Baruch Hashem, that we are zocher. The ones who are here get a special mizvah. The ones who are not here, we still say that they get the mizvah because they were zocher to meet the rabbi. And even the ones who are very far away, the ones that call them on emergency calls once every 6 months, even they are his talmidim. When it came to the real problems, the person was sick, anything, they call the rabbi. They don't want anybody to know they're calling the rabbi.